So, time, vibration, frequency, and the physical body and the state of mind, all these five are aspects, if you like, of time and how we take ourselves forward in the future and how we make things manifest. So today I'm going to chat to you about time because I noticed that everyone is worried about the future. And when we speak of the future, we think the future is out there rather than here. So the first thing I want you to note is that any future you want to create in the future, you start by doing so in the present. We need to start in the now. You cannot design the future from the past or from the future. The future really starts building up now. We're talking about time, we're talking about the future, we're talking about how people are worried, how life and what the future would be like, and the future starts in the now. You cannot design the future from the past. If you're living in the past, you cannot design from the future because you're not there. Any future you want to plan for yourself starts from today. My own understanding of time has started, or my own understanding of the nature of time, because I find it very, very elusive when we talk about time, really started many years ago. And I want to ask you, what time zone do you think you're living in? Are you so worried that you're living in the future? Are you so overwhelmed by your past that you're still living in the past? So keep that in mind as we chat today about the future. So my understanding of time started when I was a child. I mean, even as a child, I noticed that time is elastic. Well, haven't you? When you're playing and you're having fun, time seems to go really, really quickly. And also when you're panicking in an exam, time seems to go by very quickly. And then time seems to go really, really slow, like today. When you're bored, when you've had your fill, when you're waiting for a loved one to arrive home, it just goes so slow. So what does that tell you? It's elusive because really time stretches. Our perception of time stretches. Our perception of time can also be limited. When I started studying the piano, my understanding of time, kept developing. Because one time, my piano teacher walked in with a very strange present. And it was a metronome. And I hadn't seen one. I didn't know what a metronome was. And it was an odd-shaped pyramid that looked like a coffin box. And you opened it, and this piece of metal started going ting, ting, ting. And suddenly playing the piano wasn't really fun until I understood that you could really write the best piece of music. But if you don't put the time to it, if you don't put the rhythm to it, then how do you know what it sounds like? So what my teacher did is he started me off playing really slow so that I could remember the notes and remember the piece. And as I became more confident, we sped it up until we reached the right time. And this kind of stuck in my mind that if I want to learn something new, if I want to program for something new, I'd cut it into smaller segments and I'll focus on a segment until I really had, grasp of it, and then I'd run with it. So when you understand music, you also understand the significance of time and rhythm, and the two are not the same. Rhythm plays an essential role. If you like, you get the rhythm right first, and then you get the time. Does that make sense? Is that too much? Am I being too philosophical tonight? Because I've been really thinking about this, manifesting the future. How do we plan for the future? And I think it is because when you put the time to that piece of music, that it really has its magic and it affects us and we feel better. And what I've noticed recently about myself is I need music. Suddenly, I became more appreciative of music because we are in lockdown in a very strange state. We're not really connected. One day goes by and every day looks the same. And that time is here Future is here, not out there. So one time, when my mom was 85, she had a knee replacement operation. And usually her threshold for pain is very, very low. And she was really in pain in spite of all the painkillers and so on, and nothing could abate her pain. I tried everything. I tried reading stories, I tried playing audiobooks. Nothing worked. And I started flicking the TV, and to my surprise, we got the Oman channel. And by the way, they have an amazing classical orchestra that plays all around the world, Vienna, etc. And I can't remember what they were playing that night, but it was so amazing, that piece of music, that I instantly felt uplifted, as if I'm outside time, space. And my mom and I just went into a trance, and we were listening. And a few minutes later, she put her head on my chest, and then she picked up, her head, and she said, "Wow, what was that? I felt I was floating above time." These were her words. And I thought, wow, if you get the rhythm right, if you get the time right, our bodies, physical bodies, really react to it. So that's another thing. You need to get to know the time so that you know how, not to manipulate it, but how you literally create a timeline that is favorable to you, a future that is favorable to you. Later on, when I was much older and I studied healing, I came to understand time, rhythm, vibration in a different way. When I touched a person, if they had an illness or a disease, I felt two things. I felt that area of the body was too cold. I mean, immediately, as soon as I put my hand on them, I'd go back, and then I knew immediately where it was out of sync. And the other thing I noticed is like time, rhythm was very different. The diseased area, for lack of a better word, was on a slower vibration, and then the rest of the healthy body was on a different level, on a higher vibration, if you like. And this made me kind of see or link time, vibration, how do people heal, why do people not heal. And I really noticed that in order to heal, you need to be in the present, physically, mentally, emotionally. And people who do is because their mindset is in the now. They're not worried about the future, what's going to happen. They're not going over their past, regretting things and what they should have done. They are really present in the present tense. And if you like, to create things, you need to be in the present. You can't create something from a different point of view. It's true, we have logical brains and we perceive time as linear, past, present, future. But I want you to think of an incident when you took a nap for 10 minutes and you had a dream. You had deep sleep, you had a dream, and the dream was such a long epic, and you woke up and it was only 10 minutes. So our mind, brain, can perceive time in a different way. It almost like speeds up when you are in a dream state. So I call it outer time, and I call the time, the logical time that we exist in, inner time. And what I noticed is that sometimes inner time and outer time get in sync. They match, and this is when the magic happens. How do we do that? I'm going to tell you later on. So with this kind of like extrasensory perception that I've developed really by studying, but I think we are all born that way, I became to perceive life differently. I became to perceive past, present, and future differently. And I started enjoying dreaming because that's the outer time where I experimented, went different places, played around with reality, which is why I really love dreams. Because you can experiment with the future that you want. So, if you are stuck, if you are not healing, if things are not moving, progressing, moving forward in your life, it is probably because you're too worried about the future, or you're overanalyzing your past, and therefore your awareness is in the past rather than in the present. So unless you are in the present, you cannot really make happen what you want to happen. And if you're worried about how we're going to do business, how we're going to live, you're wasting that energy. Not only are you wasting that energy, I'm going to tell you what else happens. So, time, vibration, frequency, and the physical body and the state of mind, all these 5 are aspects, if you like, of time and how we take ourselves forward in the future and how we make things manifest. These also shape our future. So I like to stay informed, but I know that you cannot have negative piece of information and forget about it. It just simply goes in. So take the facts, everything else throw away, because I don't think anybody knows what's going on. And some of my friends are coping with it by paying too much attention to what other people are saying. And I don't know if what the other people are saying is based in facts or conjecture. So forget about prediction, because anything that is predicted can be changed. And you and I can change it. So if each of us stick to our present, and if each of us keep our minds in the present, then together we can create a positive future, regardless of whomever future that they're planning. And this is because everything is energy, everything is vibration. So if you get a lot of people who think the same, who do the same, who listen to the same negative news, they will get worried. Literally your immune system goes down because your vibration goes down. So our minds are really all connected. I don't know, have you ever watched rain falling down a window? I have, for many hours in boarding school. My room was on the top floor, kind of like an attic room, and had a sky window. And it used to rain a lot in England, and I just used to sit in bed and look at the rain, and it's beautiful, it's fascinating, it's kind of hypnotic. But also, if you look closely, the way the raindrops come down is when they get to be of similar width or whatever, they join together. There's nothing pushing them to join together. But they join together and then they drain to the same point. And later on, I studied that at university, and it was called capillary effect. And I think it's the same thing with thoughts. If you have a lot of people discussing the same thing, being worried about the same thing, then really what we're doing is we're creating that negative future out of the fear that we're experiencing in the present. Does that make sense, guys? So this is how important it is to have a clean mind. Don't watch things that you're going to program yourself unconsciously, because you really can't. So detox your mind, detox your life, stay in the present moment, do things that make it feel that time is not long, is not boring, make it feel like time speeds up. And for me, recently, I discovered it's music. And I'm into Bedouin poetry recently. I don't know why, but since I am here in the Gulf, I might as well explore that. And there's there's a branch of Bedouin poetry. Bedouin poetry is called Nabati, but there's a branch that is called Shela. And Shela is when you literally lift the poem up and make an uplifting song out of it. And recently it became very popular, and it's an absolutely fantastic music. And I discovered this singer because somebody posted a small section of his song on Instagram, and I thought, wow, so now that's my wake-up music. I exercise to it, I start my day with it, and it just puts you instantly in the now instead of being worried here and there. So if you want to, DM me and I'll send you the song on YouTube. I'm not sure if I can share it here. And if you do Zumba, oh my God, you are going to be Zumba-wing on this song forever. It's just amazing. It gets you to be in the now. And that is one of the things that I do in order to stay in the now and not to worry about the future. So the other thing that I do to create the future is you literally just see yourself, 2 minutes in the morning before you get out of bed, 2 minutes at night before you go to bed. See yourself in that space, being happy, healthy, Use all your senses emotionally. Feel the excitement in your body. Feel your body more energized, younger. Feel the relief, because we don't know what the future will be like. You just want to focus on the end result, which is, I feel great. I feel liberated. Whatever. I can do whatever I want. I don't mean visualize it in terms of things. You want something that means something to you, that is emotive to you. And play that scene last thing at night before you fall asleep and first thing in the morning before you get out of bed. And you are literally putting that image in your mind. But more than that, you are creating a timeline. And I've experienced different timelines, what people call parallel lives. And I read for this amazing woman called Dr. Penny Kelly, who's actually traveled many parallel lives. And before they used to say, oh, there's 11. Now they say, scientists say it's infinite. And the reason that it is infinite is because you really create them with your mind. So your mind is a very, very important tool. Keep that safe. Keep it healthy. Keep it detoxed. And really watch out. Where do you spend your mind? In what zone? Is it in the past? In the present? If it's in the future, it should be busy in the now, making that future. And if you repeat that with a lot of emotions, your body will think that you're there. And before you know it, things happen sooner than you think. Stay positive. And if you and I, and he and she, we all do the same, believe me, that power that we create individually will add up and will change whatever future that you're worried about. It's all really energy. It's all in the mind. And we have beautiful, sophisticated machines. Let's use them properly. Stay healthy, stay well, and think about what is it that you want. What kind of future do you want to design for yourself? Take care.